OK. Make that a motion tween. Okay, so when we hit that OK button at frame 85, the high score screen is going to slide away, and we want the OK button also to get out of our sight. So let's have it simply take 5 frames. I'll insert another keyframe on the OK button layer and lock the high score screen so I don't grab it, and lock the start screen so I don't grab it. Grab the OK button here and simply slide it down to where it was with the high score screen so that we can see it. When I right click and make a motion tween, we can see it slide away with the high scores. When it disappears there, it's off the stage, so it doesn't really matter that it just pops out of existence. No one's going to see it anyway. When the you'll notice here, after the high scores scroll far enough down, you can see that our buttons from the buttons layer, the play and help buttons, they aren't visible anymore. So right there is the last frame where they're hidden. So let's insert a keyframe there, and the blank space in the buttons layer will continue right up to 95. And then let's copy this frame right here. Copy frames. That's a frame where the buttons are in position on the buttons layer, and let's go over and paste that frame right here so the buttons will exist again, and then insert a keyframe at 100 so they stay there. The high scores scroll off. When we get to frame 100, we can insert a keyframe on the code layer and go into our actions screen and give it a go to and stop at frame 1, and that ought to smoothly take us from the rollout of the high scores back to the very first frame of our entire Flash application without any seams at all. So right now we should have a help button that works, a play button that works, a help button that takes us to our help screen, a play button that takes us to our play screen, and an OK button that we can use from our help screen to get us back to the start screen, an OK button that we can use from our game screen to roll smoothly into our high scores screen, and an OK button that will take us from our high scores screen back to the start and loop everything around. Let's test this now and see if this works. This should be the last work we're doing on the main stages timeline. Help rolls in, no crazy animations. OK rolls out, everything looks like it ought to. Play rolls in, and the OK kind of flies up pretty quick, but that's fine. We hit OK and we roll it and see the high scores, and then in pops the OK button again. Click on that OK button again, and everything slides away, and we're right back to square one. That's exactly what we want to happen. So now we're going to have a look at making this game board, which I'm going to unlock, a bit more interesting. These gray squares in here, we're going to do something a bit cooler with them. And what we're going to do to make them more interesting is make them into actual moving cards that flip over. So let's go into the game board movie clip here. Zoom out a bit so I can see what I'm doing. And we see that we have this array of drawing objects. Let's just go ahead and get rid of that completely. Delete. And make ourselves some new drawing objects. Wow. They're going to be movie clips. That'll be our cards. Let's make them a similar kind of a gray color. And 80 by 80. Why not? That's a good size. At 0 by 0 is fine. And we're going to want these things to be converted to symbol, and I will call this one MC card. Make sure that it is a movie clip. That's fine. And we'll make an array of them. But first, let's pop right into it. So this is right inside the MC card. Let's make it do something a little bit more interesting. We're going to want a front side and a back side of the card, so we'll add another layer there. And we're going to want these sides to animate so that it looks like they're being flipped over. So when we're inside the MC card movie clip, we can see that what we have here is a drawing object. We want to change that, convert it to symbol, and we'll call it MC front of card, I guess. That's fine. And what this animation is going to do is to make it look like the card is being flipped over. And the easiest way to do that is actually, I'll just make a motion between these two here, and at the back of at the end of the animation, at the end of that motion tween, I'll just grab that movie clip and change its width to 1 and change its X so that it's right in the middle of where it used to be, and then this tween ought to look like the card is folding in half, getting narrow like that. Now what we do on the other side, if I go up to layer 2, then I'll just hide layer 1 for a second, and I'll make another rectangle, but this one I'll make a different color, say bright red, so it really shows up. I'll also make it 80 by 80 at 0 by 0, and I'll also convert it to a movie clip. Convert to symbol, and I'll call it the MC back of card. Keep these things nice and simple, and we'll give it its own little 30-second zone, make that a motion tween, and here at the beginning I'll do the same thing as I did with the other one, where I'll make its width 1 and its position the middle of where it used to be. Now if I turn on the visibility for layer 1, you ought to see layer 1 gets narrow and then flips over to layer 2. Looks kind of like a flipping card, like you're spinning it over. A nice little trick, and being as these are now movie clips, we can do some sort of interesting things with that. Let's just, before we wander out of here, put the reverse back on so the card will flip back over to the other side, and we'll just do that by inserting another keyframe on the lower layer, on the front side layer. I'll rename these to front side and back side. Great. In theory, we don't want there to be anything existing here on the front side layer while the back side is showing, but as long as it's the bottom part and the card is that narrow, it doesn't matter if that 1 pixel wide sliver stays at the bottom. Even if it did manage to show up on top, you probably wouldn't notice it. Well, 1 pixel, if it's a dramatically different color, it would look kind of funny, but as long as it is the bottom layer, it will stay hidden back there, and it makes our lives easier because we can now just jump 15 seconds ahead to 45, throw in another keyframe, throw in another motion tween, and go to the end frame here, make the backside, well, don't even have to make the backside invisible because there's nothing existing on that layer at that frame, and use our selection tool, grab that movie clip and make its width 80 again, and bring it back to the registration point at 0, and that should look like it's flipping over. So the card gets narrow, then you see the red side, and then all of a sudden you see the gray card shrinking out. So let's grab this whole tween, select it here, whoops, there we go, select it there, and let's drag that out to 45 and insert a keyframe on the back side, and we want that to motion tween going from the edge on to the face on, back to edge on. So we'll just create a motion tween there, click on the back side, make sure I've selected that card, and make its width 1 and put it at 40, which is the midpoint of the card. Now it should look like a gray card goes to the edge, and then you see the red face, and it goes to the full face, and then to the edge, and then the gray edge, and it comes back. That's fantastic. We have a flipping card.